Hello there, I am Man in Yellow and welcome to a short video in which we will be having a quick look at the stats and abilities of every new phobie coming in the All Hallows Masquerade Soiree update. First of all, we have Benny's brother Lenny, who many of you may already have seen or met as he crashed the party and entered the game a little bit early. Lenny is a rather humble little basic 2-key turret that you could bring on small maps whenever you either want to save a key for the following turn or bring a 1 key alongside him, for example on turn 1 as I did here. Then we have Mozzy. Mozzy is a 3-key flying melee phobie with a passive ability that allows it to heal itself for 100% of the damage that it deals. Mozzy is at its happiest when it is fighting one-on-one against an enemy phobie that cannot kill it in a single turn, allowing it to keep itself alive with the Skeeter Leech. And now we have a big one, the Sneers trio. I'm going to be talking about these three as a group as they are pairing phobies, and so it would not make sense to look at them individually. Alfred, Guillaume and Dolores each get different bonuses for pairing up with their fellow Sneer members. Alfred gets attack power, Guillaume gets movement speed, and Dolores will get extra range. The big difference between these three and the pairing phobies that we are used to is that their passive ability stacks. That means that if you bring all three of them together, Alfred will end up having 750 attack, Guillaume will be 3 movement speed, and Dolores will have 3 range. This means that individually each of them are quite weak. When they're just one of their friends, they end up being pretty decent. Alfred would be comparable to Giggles at that point, Guillaume would be comparable to Cyclops, and Dolores would just be a decent turret. However, the time where they truly shine is when all three of them are together, as they become very powerful at that point. For example, Dolores with 3 range is pretty much comparable to Chuck for just 6 keys. When using the Sneer trio, be careful not to lose any of them too early on, as that will leave your remaining ones quite sad and much less powerful. It is also worth noting that all 3 members of the Sneers trio have the resurrection ability, making them harder to finish off. Next up we have Octo-Buddy. Octo-Buddy is a 5-key, 2 movement, 2 range dimensional phobie with an ability that allows it to pluck up an abyss pit for 3 turns. When a abyss pit is plucked up, you can walk over it or stand on it with normal ground phobies. And then we get to Preacher. Preacher is a 6-key dimensional phobie with 2 movement and 1 range. When it uses an action to toggle its ability, it becomes completely immovable both by your and your opponent. It gains 2 range and creates an ability dampening zone around itself in a 2-tile radius where no other phobies can use active abilities. This affects both your phobies and the opponent's phobies. However, if you really need to use one of your other phobies' abilities, you can always turn the sermon off to do so. Next up we have Pearl. Pearl is a 7-key mechanical phobie with flying, 2 movement and 1 range AoE attacks. Its ability is a 2 range AoE around itself that pushes all enemies back 1 tile. This allows Pearl to fulfill a similar role to Hevo 2.0. And last but not least, we have Buzzkill. Buzzkill is a 7-key undead phobie with 2 movement and 2 range. Its active ability Terraform Saw allows it to create or destroy obstacles up to 2 tiles away with lobbing. This at first glance looks fairly similar to Mount Crushmore, however having 2 range on the ability makes it much easier to block enemies in or to combine it with AoE attacks. It is worth noting, however, that this ability has 1 lock on it unlike the other terraformers, so you have to wait a turn before you can use it. Here is a quick example of me using it with Noxious and Cupcake as a combo, and that allows you to deal a lot of AoE damage on pretty much any tile that you want and makes it very hard to avoid. Finally, I will just leave you here with a picture of all of the new phobies grouped up. I hope you are as excited as I am for them. I will do another video where I go a bit more in depth on each one, but for this video I don't really have much more to say. So thanks for watching, I hope to see you in the next one, and bye.